Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you tried, nothing seemed to help you progress in life? Would you believe me if I told you that your own stubbornness is holding you back more than anything else around you when it comes to reaching your maximum potential? Do you not find it to be intense? If you're serious about making a change in your life, there are 10 behaviors you need to kick by 2025. Changing your mindset or making minor adjustments won't cut it here. What we're talking about is tapping into your hidden talents and accomplishing things you never imagined were possible. Do not leave this video until you have experienced the change you have been seeking. Please subscribe, like, and watch the entire video if you are prepared to delve headfirst into self-actualization. Believe me when I say that this information can change your love life and your life in general. Alright then, I will start. 1. Don't chase women. Can you remember the first time you tried to win over someone you had feelings for? I bet you had to put a lot of thought into trying to get their attention. Will it not happen? The issue is that when we pursue women or anybody else, for that matter, we typically do it out of a place of insecurity. We dream that if we put up a decent enough show, say the correct things, or just be ourselves, others would take notice and adore us. The strategy will ultimately fail, unfortunately. Take me back to when you were a young adult desperately trying to win over a grown-up. Maybe you weren't sure how quickly they would respond when you first texted them. Maybe you tried to change who you are to fit their standards or try to impress them with material goods. Could you tell me what you think about it? Eventually, you've probably felt completely drained. When was the last time you felt like you were losing touch with your own self? What if, instead, you prioritized taking care of yourself? I have a question for you, and it is this. Try to put yourself in that position, where you aren't trying to prove anything and are just being genuine. People will gravitate toward you once you reach that point. A partner that is confident in themselves, knows their worth, and doesn't need other people's approval is someone any couple would be lucky to have. Being imbalanced and exhausted from trying to keep up with someone is no picnic. It claims that when I am by myself, I am insufficient. When you stop putting on an act to impress other people and start being yourself, you'll start to attract the right individuals. Being independent, pursuing one's passions, and constantly improving oneself are the 3 pillars upon which healthy relationships rest. Think about the love relationship that has brought you the most joy. Were you born into their love, or did you have to put in effort to earn it? Yes, it was that easy. Putting oneself first is where the power lies. When one stops trying to control or manipulate life, they open the door for love to discover those deserving of it. 2. Toxic relationships. Toxic relationships could be the next subject we cover. Can one have emotional exhaustion when in a relationship? Maybe you always felt like you had to be on guard, so you could never be really yourself. Even though they may provide the impression of passion or love, toxic relationships are really destructive to your mental health, happiness, and self-esteem. Think back on a time when you were living with someone who was toxic. Recall the moments you shared with that individual. Was it always the case that you felt like you were giving more than you were receiving? Having doubts about your worth and being cautious about everything you do? If you tried to go outside during a rainstorm without an umbrella, the water would simply keep pouring down. I must tell you, you deserve better. You are deserving of relationships that uplift you, support you through life's challenges, and surround you with love and gratitude. No relationship is healthy if it makes you feel like you have to compromise your identity. If you're always drained, alone, and controlled, it might be time to reevaluate your current circumstances. Whoever is currently filling your life with their presence deserves your undivided attention. Are you fortunate enough to have a person that brings you joy? When you feel good about yourself, who is reassuring you of that? Reflect on the individuals who deplete your stamina, induce anxiety, or render you feel undeserving. Those people need to be severed from your life right now. If the other person doesn't appreciate you or is perpetually down on you, there's no use in continuing the connection. When you decide to exit a toxic relationship, you create space for a healthier, more fulfilling one to take its place. You start to attract the kind of people who care about more than just how you look and who will be there for you through thick and thin. It's very similar to the sensation of finally releasing a long-held breath. Consequently, you need to prioritize. Is it better to cling to an unfair spouse or to let go and leave space for someone who deserves you? 3. Masturbation. Oh sure, let's talk about masturbation now. I know this one will be uncomfortable at first, but please stick with me because it's for your overall growth. When people rely on masturbation as a crutch, it can turn into a form of self-medicating, a way to avoid dealing with tough feelings like loneliness, stress, or emotional pain. When you are emotionally dry, have you ever masturbated? Give specific examples if that's the case. It could be after a particularly difficult day or when you're feeling lonely. Although it may offer temporary relief for some, the detrimental impacts often last long after the first high fades. Importantly, running away from problems does not solve them. You need to face your emotions, work through them, and then figure out how to cope with stress in a healthy way. Shift your attention away from immediate rewards and toward more substantial, long-term objectives, such as advancing in your career, learning new skills, or enhancing your physical health. Recharging your batteries begins when you stop relying on short fixes. You start to channel your desires into positive activities. The point is that giving in to such desires might turn them into a crutch. Not that you shouldn't feel them. Take a moment to reflect. What would my life look like if I stopped worrying about things that didn't contribute to my success? Imagine all the ways you could put that energy into something that helps you grow as a person. The key is not to give in to your impulses, but to control them such that they serve to further your real goals. 4. Social media addiction. Have you ever found yourself so absorbed in your social media feed that you couldn't help but notice the passing of time? In the sea of pointless likes, comments, and posts, it's as if you vanished. Constantly checking one's phone may become rather addictive, as any individual who has ever been caught in that practice can tell you. However, the truth is that social media can significantly diminish the real purpose of life if utilized excessively. Because of this, we steer clear of things that actually make us happy, fulfilled, and connected. Can you remember a time when you were completely present? Like when you were at a cafe or with friends? You were able to fully immerse yourself in the conversation, laughing and enjoying it without feeling the urge to check your phone every few seconds? It seemed freeing to me. Think about the times you were with a significant other and yet felt the need to check your notifications constantly. The person you were with probably felt ignored. Despite being physically present, you probably also felt emotionally disconnected. In truth, social media has the dual effect of bringing us closer together and isolating us at the same time. Addiction to social media is more than simply a waste of time. It's about letting other people dictate our emotions. We measure our value by the number of likes and comments we receive, which we use to compare ourselves to the well-manufactured lives of other people. But those numbers don't tell the whole story of how valuable you are. Living one's life to the fullest is more important than seeking validation from complete strangers online. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly connected to another person? What exactly led to it? A lengthy online debate or something else entirely? Having genuine, face-to-face connections is probably more important to you than maintaining them online. Imagine for a second how much better your relationships, hobbies, and self-improvement would be if you could regain that time. That is the power you'll feel when you break free from your dependency on social media. In 2025, what would be possible if you made the Conscious decision to stop allowing social media to dictate your every move? Can you build stronger relationships? How likely is it that you could find the time to acquire a new skill or pursue a pastime? You get to make the call. You may regain control of your life and your time. 5. Negative self-talk. When you're being really hard on yourself, how often does it feel like you're actually hurting yourself? Statements like, "I'll never be successful," "I'll never find love," and "I'm not good enough" can have lasting effects on your life. Despite their transient nature, when you tell yourself negative things, they may start to happen. You can train yourself to believe that you aren't good enough by constantly telling yourself that. And when you think that, you actually act on it. You restrict your options and don't realize your greatest potential. Think back on a time when you doubted your skills, whether it was in a relationship or when deciding on a life-altering decision. Maybe you convinced yourself you were unlovable, or that you would never amount to anything. Does your emotional reaction come to mind as you think about it? A persistent sense of you don't deserve it, or you can't do it, just won't leave you. Your sense of self-worth, ability to make decisions, and relationships with others were all affected. Think about a different world for a second. Rather than being harsh with yourself, what if you bolstered yourself with kind words and compliments? Think about how much better your life would be if you began to view yourself the way your loved ones do, as strong, capable, and deserving of all the nice things that come your way. You can improve your relationships, your attitude on life, and your objectives by making this mental transformation. As you modify your inner monologue, your view of life changes. When you believe in yourself and your talents, positive things begin to happen to you. The first step in overcoming negative self-talk is to replace it with positive affirmations about yourself whenever you become aware of it. So, I'm curious, what would happen to your life if you started believing in yourself? How would your relationships evolve? If you started being as kind and considerate to yourself as you are to other people? Nothing is more fundamental than altering your way of thinking. It pertains to altering your existence, your romantic relationships, and your impact on the world. 6. Unhealthy lifestyle habits. Okay, then I guess we can talk about bad behaviors now. Although there is more to the ancient saying than just, "You are what you eat." It does go something like that. The state of your mind, heart, and body are all interdependent. We have a tendency to fall into habits that aren't necessarily good for our health as time goes on. Constant junk food consumption, lack of exercise, and late-night TV binging eat away at our health and happiness. Think back to a time when you were completely worn out. Maybe you were in a toxic relationship, stressed out at work, or just plain depressed. For some reason, did you avoid exercising because you were too tired? Or did you utilize food as a means of self-soothing? You probably felt worse following those decisions. At least that's what I'm betting on. You were stuck in a never-ending cycle of bad habits instead of feeling energized. However, consider the potential shifts that could occur. If you made your own health a top priority, envision a life where you consistently sat down to a healthy breakfast, worked out, and slept soundly. Envision yourself with significantly greater stamina. Envision yourself with a great deal more self-confidence. Taking care of your body has multiple benefits, one of which is an improvement in your mood. When you prioritize your own well-being, you boost your self-esteem and are more equipped to deal with life's challenges. Maintaining good mental health is equally vital as maintaining good physical health through proper nutrition and frequent exercise. Prioritizing self-care, setting healthy boundaries, and making time for leisure are equally important. Achieving balance between your mind and body can do wonders for your happiness and physical appeal. Having the energy to feel your best, follow your passions, and make better decisions is within your reach. What if you started putting your mental and physical health first right now? How would it affect your life? How much more could you achieve if your mental, emotional, and physical health were all in better shape? The time to invest in yourself has come. You can improve your health, happiness, and quality of life by releasing yourself from detrimental habits. 7. Financial mismanagement. When was the last time you worried that your financial position was too much for you to manage? Perhaps money was a constant point of disagreement in your relationship or dating life, either because there wasn't enough or because you couldn't seem to agree on how to spend it. Mismanagement of funds has the potential to derail any relationship. It can be something small at first, like buying things you don't need or taking your bank account balance for granted. Nevertheless, it builds up with time. It hits you when you think about how your money choices have affected your relationships and your ability to relax. Imagine this. You've been working very hard in the hopes of building a future for yourself. Your partner may be starting to realize that you're not always perfect and ideal. Your money concerns will cloud your conversations, even if they make an effort to be sympathetic. Tonight, are we having ramen again, or are we going out to eat? Money is a frequently discussed topic. Will we stay put and make up reasons why we can't afford to travel? The foundation of our relationship starts to crumble when we mismanage our finances. Money is more than just a means of transaction. It can also stand for feelings like security, trust, and love. Unneeded stress can be added to people's life when they experience anxieties, uncertainties, and frustrations due to financial instability. Take a moment to reflect on a time when your relationship was unaffected by money worries. Your financial status was never more significant than the quality time you spent together, was it? Having felt this kind of pressure before, it should serve as a red indicator that you should begin making preparations for your financial future. You and those you care about should never have to worry about money again, so you may enjoy life to the fullest. Just for a second, picture the potential impact on your financial situation. If you started making more prudent choices, imagine a future where you and your partner can afford the ideal vacation you've always wanted, not because you hope you can, but because you've been extremely frugal. The serenity you'll feel will change your connection and how you see your own worth in the world. The future you deserve may be within your reach if you begin to handle your finances responsibly today. 8. Comparing yourself to others. Think back to a time when you truly believed in yourself. Maybe it was when you were in a serious relationship and your ideal self was finally taking shape. But then something happened. It seemed like everything was under control. When you checked your social network or saw an old friend, your inadequacy seemed to materialize out of nowhere. People started comparing your journey to theirs. The feelings of inadequacy came back strong. We are all too aware with the trap of judging ourselves by the standards of others. These days, it seems like everywhere we go, we can see people's highlight reels of their lives, complete with their perfect relationships, lavish vacations, and flawless appearances. You may find yourself wondering why your life isn't similar. The truth, though, is that appearances seldom reveal everything, because we are all fighting our own internal battles. Even the seemingly perfect people on the internet conceal their worries, fears, and difficulties from the world. Have you ever wished you had something that another person sought, only to realize that you already had it? That's my question. It may have been the person you loved and clicked with, or it could have been the fact that you loved and accepted yourself, flaws and all. Keep in mind that the path that each individual takes in life is unique. Everyone has their own special journey, and everyone has their own special set of challenges that they have had to conquer. When one spouse is constantly being compared to the other, it can lead to relationship misery and dissatisfaction. If only our personal relationship could be more like that, how often would we wish it were? Remember, though, that these ties only exist between them and the other people in question, and not between you. Like everyone else, they are molded by certain situations and dynamics. Instead of worrying about how you measure up to other people, focus on the things you're making with your friends, relationship, and yourself. Just for a second, try to put yourself in someone else's shoes and appreciate where you are. Take a moment to picture yourself fully enjoying your unique path in life, free from the burden of trying to be someone else's ideal version of yourself. Quit wasting time comparing yourself to other people and start appreciating the present moment. You are exactly where you ought to be. Your love story is special, and you should be happy about it. 9. Toxic work environment. Have you ever felt trapped in a work that discouraged you and affected your relationships with others? You might have been too tired to talk. You might have gotten home late, or you might have been thinking about work all the time instead of relaxing. Your emotional distance is so great that it doesn't matter how close you are physically. When others you care about, like your partner, find out about the change, tensions mount. Toxic work environments affect more than just your health and happiness. They also damage your relationships. You wake up every day dreading going to work, and you know what? A lot of people can relate to this. It appears like your supervisor is a major annoyance, and that your coworkers are more concerned with competing than working together. When you get home, that negativity follows. Perhaps you find it difficult to relax and enjoy each other's company because you're easily irritated and snap at your spouse, or because you spend your nights complaining about your job. It must be exhausting. When you're at work, it can feel like there's a constant fight breaking out all around you. But think about it this way. Are you more important than taking care of your emotional and mental health if you stay in a job that's killing you? Imagine a future where you put your well-being first by seeking out a career path that fulfills you and makes you feel respected and cherished. Not only would you be happier, but the quality of your relationships would also improve. Your partner can sense when you're happy at work since it shows in your home life. This in no way justifies your absenteeism from work tomorrow. However, this does mean that you should consider how your job impacts your personal life. What percentage of the time does work come into your brain? Instead of spending it with your loved ones, how about making some adjustments at work, setting some boundaries, or prioritizing self-care to create a more balanced life? Remember that you deserve to be in a place that values you and supports your development as an individual and as a professional. Imagine a world where you no longer dread going to work each day and instead find that it brings you joy instead of stealing it. Taking small steps now can help you build a better, more fulfilling tomorrow. 10. Fear of change. It would be great to take a short break. Picture a time when you or your business relationship were at a crossroads. You were too chicken to do something about the shift, even though you could feel it. Maybe you stayed in a toxic relationship because the pain of breaking up was more than the pain of staying in it. Think about it this way. You're about to make a decision that could change your life, like moving to a new city, ending a bad relationship, or finding love again. But then you hear that little voice inside your head asking, what if it doesn't work out? It seems like we can all connect. The thought of change makes me feel somewhat nervous. Fear of the unknown is a damaging feeling because it keeps us stuck in harmful patterns and behaviors. But remember this essential fact: change never ends. Regardless of the relationship or life stage, change is inevitable. Periods of change are when people grow and change for the better. Think back on a time when you were scared your romantic connection would end. It might have been during a breakup, or simply a period when you were unable to let someone go, despite your knowledge that they weren't a suitable match. It could be terrible to think of being all alone, yourself, and losing all you care about. You may have convinced yourself that remaining put was easier, despite your hidden belief that you deserved better. Imagine, nevertheless, that you were to abandon your aversion to change. Picture yourself instead seeing it as an opportunity for growth. Both you and the people you're close to evolve as time goes on. Envision all the good that could come out of embracing that. Change instead of fighting it. Instead of letting your insecurities hold you back, maybe you can build the relationship you've always wanted. One that encourages your growth, brings you joy, and enables you to achieve your goals. Is it scarier to stay still and never grow, or to bravely step into the unknown and discover something greater? Get over your fears and live the life you deserve, full of love and happiness. 11. Lack of boundaries. Tell me about a time when you let someone overstep your limits, whether it was in a personal relationship, with a friend, or even with family. Maybe you were in a state of emotional desperation and allowed other people to take more from you than you could manage. As a consequence, you started to fade from sight. When there are no limits in a relationship, it could feel like you're constantly giving your all without ever receiving anything in return. Do you find this story relatable? When was the last time you were in a relationship when you felt like you had to always put your partner's needs before your own? Maybe you agreed to remain in an unappreciated situation even if it was making you feel bad. You may feel like you've used all your energy for nothing after a while. It can take a toll on your mental health, and your love life can feel out of whack. Having said that, it is within your rights to set boundaries. Your personal well-being, peace of mind, and happiness should never have to take a back seat to someone else's demands. Think back on the last time you sacrificed something important like your own needs, stayed up late, or gave your spouse the power to make decisions when you both should have been involved just so they could be happy. All through that period, you disregarded your own personal boundaries. Take a moment to think about all the times you've been in a socially uncomfortable situation and managed to remain silent. Actually, one way to show one's self-love is to set limits. Setting clear boundaries demonstrates to yourself that you value your emotional well-being, your time, and your needs. Each partner feels heard, valued, and appreciated when boundaries are set appropriately in a relationship. You may have the fulfilling relationship you desire when you and your partner are both aware of and comfortable with each other's boundaries. More essential than being selfish is maintaining harmony, respecting one another, and establishing an emotionally safe atmosphere. Remember that you have the power to assert yourself, remain silent, and build a loving relationship based on mutual respect the next time someone pushes your boundaries. Don't focus on results. Take a second to think about the love relationships in your life. Have you ever let yourself get completely overtaken by worry about a relationship's end? Maybe you often questioned if your spouse was really committed, or if they were just putting in the same amount of work as you. Ultimately, perhaps you have missed out on the joys of a relationship because you have been too preoccupied with finding the one to enjoy them. A lot of people do this. They get so preoccupied with finding the ideal partner, marriage, or long-term commitment that they forget to appreciate the journey itself. If I may give you an example, have you ever been in a relationship where you kept asking when things would finally heat up? Because you were preoccupied with finding proof and moving on, you failed to appreciate the magnificence of what was happening right in front of your eyes. Spending quality time together was overshadowed by your preoccupation with how each step would advance you toward your objective. But if you do that, you can miss out on the kind of love that is defined by late-night stories, strangers' compassion, and private moments. Please, I implore you, in love and life, there is no such place as an ideal ending. What really matters during a journey are the moments, the growth, and the connections. When you find yourself becoming overly preoccupied with the result, remind yourself to savor the here and now. What if, instead of looking forward to the future, The most lovely part of your relationship is living in the here and now. Think of the special moments you've shared with loved ones and the simple things that meant the world to you. Maybe it was a time when your significant other really listened to you and found something to laugh about. Or maybe it was as simple as a text message that lifted your spirits. Pay more attention to the details than to the overall picture. In your love life, they are crucial because they lay the groundwork for strong relationships. Results matter, but you shouldn't let them control you. Stay focused on the present moment. Take pleasure in the ride. Let your love grow naturally by savoring the simple pleasures that unite you. In your love life, how many chances have you missed out on because you were focused on getting somewhere instead of enjoying the journey? Conclusion. Finally, in preparation for the new you that will emerge in 2025, I provide the 10 habits that will change your life irrevocably. If you can break these tendencies, you'll create space for your true self to emerge. This, however, will not transpire by itself, so bear with me. It will require consistency, commitment, and persistence. But once you start to let go of these old habits, I promise you, the weight will start to lift off your shoulders. A fresh outlook will open your eyes and you will unearth your hidden talents. Subscribing, liking, and sharing this video with anyone you believe could use the knowledge you gained today is greatly appreciated. Remember that you can always start again. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you here again soon.